So today we're going to be looking at lesson 4, unit 4, lesson 4, mixed numbers and improper fractions. Okay, so we're going to be looking, first things first, it's in our notebooks. Let's title this Unit 4, Lesson 4. Okay, we want to give it a title, and then we want to give it a name, Mixed Numbers and Improper Fractions. Okay. Excuse me. So that's what we're going to put into our notebook today. Let's go over what is a mixed number. Okay. So before we do that, let's talk about what this is. Okay. That is a whole number, the number 4. It's a whole number, 4 whole pieces of pie if you want to, or excuse me, 4 whole pies if you want to say it correctly. Okay, then we have a fraction, something that looks like this. Okay, so that would be like a half a pie. A mixed number has both a whole number and a fraction, 4 and a half. 4 and a half pies. Okay. So that is what a mixed number is. This is called a mixed number. An improper fraction, excuse me, an improper fraction, we all know fractions have a denominator and a numerator. The numerator is on top, and the denominator is on the bottom. Okay? So, that is a normal fraction. Numerator on top, smaller. Denominator on the bottom, larger. An improper fraction is where you have a larger number on top and a smaller number on the bottom. So you have a larger numerator than you do a denominator. This is called an improper fraction. Now, in the past, you've been told that improper fractions are not an answer to something. Okay, you were told to turn it into a fraction. Well, an improper fraction actually has a very useful, there's a real useful reason behind it. When you are multiplying and dividing, you need to use improper fractions at times. So I'm going to teach you how to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction. Okay. Later on in this unit, we'll talk about why an improper fraction is useful. But for now, we need to know how to get that number, that mixed number, into an improper fraction. So that is what we are going to look at today. Okay, so today's main idea, I will write mixed numbers as improper fractions and vice versa, meaning I will write improper fractions as mixed numbers and mixed numbers as improper fractions. I will need to know how to do it both ways. So that is what we are going to be looking at today. Okay? All right, so here we go. If a spaceship lifts off the moon, it must travel at a speed of 2 2/5 kilometers per second in order to escape the pull of the moon's gravity. Write this speed as an improper fraction, then graph the improper fraction on a number line. Okay, so this is asking us to do two things. It's asking us to write this number as an improper fraction, number 1. Then it's asking us to graph it on a number line, number 2. So this is number 1, this is number 2. All right, so we have 2 problems that we need to solve here. All right, so we want to make sure when we're doing these problems, we read all of the directions, solve every single problem, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to turn this number, 2 2/5, from a mixed number to an improper fraction. All right, so to do this, I'm going to take 2 2/5. Okay, that's my mixed number. I'm going to make this a little bigger so y'all can see. Okay, this is a mixed number. what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply my denominator times the whole number. So 5 times 2 is 10. I'm then going to take that number and I'm going to add the numerator to it. So 10 plus 2 is 12. That is my new numerator. Then my denominator will stay the same. So this turns into 12/5. So let's take a look at just another example so that you can see what I did there. I'm going to take the mixed number of 3 3/4, and I want to turn this into an improper fraction. So right now it's a mixed number. I want to turn it into an improper fraction. To do this, I'm going to multiply the denominator times the whole number. So 4 times 3 is 12. I'm then going to take that 12 and I'm going to add the numerator. 12 plus 3 is 15. And then my denominator stays the same, 4. So 15/4. I've now taken that mixed number and turned it into an improper fraction. Okay? So that's how I'm going to solve this. All right, then the second part of this problem asks us to put this on a number line. So I'm going to draw a number line. Okay, again, using a straight edge or a ruler. Okay, then I'm going to make some labels. So I'm going to say 0. Here's 1, 2, 3. So I know that this number is going to fall between the 2 and the 3. It's going to fall somewhere in here. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger now. Okay, so this is 2 right here, and this is 3 right here. I'm a little off. I need to sorry guys, I need to redo this. It's not going to work out the way I wanted it to, so I got to redo it, which is fine. Math, that's why we use a pencil, because we want to redo it. So here's 2, here's 3. Come on. Okay, so now I want to find 2/5. Well, here's 2/5 should be right about here. Okay, so then I would call this 2 2/5. Okay, so that's how we would graph it. So again, we have our improper fraction. We have our mixed number to an improper fraction, multiplying the denominator times the whole number, and then we add the numerator. Okay, and that gives us our improper fraction. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at another example. Write 23/4 as a mixed number. All right. So we'll skip the graphing part for now. We know how to do that. But now let's take a look at 23/4. 23/4. I need to take this number and now I need to put it into a mixed number, this improper fraction into a mixed number. This is where knowing our multiplication facts are going to be very, very important. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to answer this 2 ways. All right, so first I'm going to do it with my multiplication facts. How many times does 4 go into 23 without going over? Okay, well, I know that 4 times 5 is 20, but I know that 4 times 6 is 24, but 24 is over. So I'm going to say that 4 goes into 23 5 times. Okay, 5 times 4 is 20. So 23 minus 20 is 3 over 4. The denominator stays the same. So again, 4 goes into 23 5 times, and there are 3 left over. That 3 becomes my numerator, and the denominator stays the same. You will notice that the denominator always stays the same. Okay, another way to do this, if you don't know your multiplication facts very well, is to just count by 4 until you get to a number that does not go over 23. So we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Okay, so this number is not going to work. So how many do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know that my whole number is going to be 5, and that I have 3 left over, and my denominator stays the same. 5 3/4. That would be my answer. Okay, so that is 2 ways to answer this problem. Again, needing to know our multiplication facts. All right, let's take a look at our homework tonight. So, it looks like we're not going to need to do any graphing, which is fine, okay? But we are going to need to do some math. Again, guys, and I am not kidding, you must show work. This is not optional, okay? And I'm not kidding. I need to see the work. I need to see that you know how to do these problems. Okay, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Let's take a look at, we'll do a couple of problems just to help you out. All right, so let's take a look at number 1, 5 2/3. I need to change this into an improper fraction. That's what the directions are asking me to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my denominator, multiply it by the whole number. 3 times 5 is 15. Then I'm going to add that to the numerator. So 15 plus 2 equals 17. Then my denominator stays the same, 3. So my answer is 17/3. This is the work that I want to see right there. Okay. All right. Now let's do one more. Of these improper fractions into a mixed number or a whole number. They are both. All right. Let's take a look at number 6. So I have 16/8. I'm going to do my work right here. Again, you're doing your work on graph paper. 16/8. All right, so I'm going to say, all right, how many times does 8 go into 16? It goes in 2 times, and there is nothing left over. So my answer is 2 and 0 over 8, or just 2. Another way to answer this is if you don't know your multiplication, count by 8. 8, 16, all right. Goes in 1, 2 times. My answer is 2. Okay. So some of these, the answers will be whole numbers. Some, the answers will be mixed numbers. Okay, guys, just like yesterday, this stuff is getting harder and harder and harder. It's going to be very important that you ask your questions. You've got to ask those questions. That's what I'm here for. Okay? So don't just think it's going to come to you. You got to ask those questions. All right, guys, let's get to it. If you have any questions, come up and let me know. All right.